Howdy, y'all. Glad to have you back. Now, today we're going to read another book. This one is written by Steve Smallman and it is illustrated by Robert Dunn. The book in question is Santa is Coming to Texas. Now, it's a nice little book and I enjoyed reading it the first time through, so I hope you do as well. Let's get started. Santa is coming to Texas. Well, boomed Santa, have all the children from Texas been good this year? Well, mostly, answered the little old elf as he bustled across the busy workshop to Santa's desk. Santa peered down at the elf from behind the tall, teetering piles of letters that the children of Texas had sent him. Mostly? Asked Santa, looking over the top of his glasses. Yes, but they've all been especially good in the past few days, said the elf. Ho, ho, ho! Jolly good, chuckled Santa. Then we better get their presents loaded up. Even though the sack of presents was really, really big, and the elves were really, really small, they seemed to have no trouble loading it onto Santa's sleigh. Though how they managed to fit such a big sack into one little sleigh, even they didn't know. But somehow, they did. Splendid, boomed Santa. We're ready to go. Not quite, Santa, said the little old elf. One of our reindeer is missing. Missing? Which reindeer is missing? Asked Santa. The youngest one, Santa, said the elf. It's his first flight tonight. I've called him and called him, but... Just then, a young reindeer strolled up, munching on a very large carrot. Where have you been? Asked Santa, but the youngest reindeer was crunching so loudly that it was no wonder he hadn't heard the little old elf calling. Oh, well, never mind, said Santa, giving the reindeer a little wink. He took out his Santa nav and tapped in the coordinates for Texas. This will guide us to Texas in no time. With a flick of the reins and a jerk of the harness, off they went, racing through the sky. Ho, 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 laughed Santa. We'll soon have these presents delivered to the Lone Star State. Santa's sleigh flew through the starry night, heading south across the Arctic Ocean. On they flew in the crisp, wintry air, crossing over Canada. In the wink of an eye, the sleigh was flying above Oklahoma, and then over Fort Worth. The youngest reindeer was very excited. He had never been away from the North Pole before. They were just nearing Round Rock when suddenly they ran into a thick fog. Mist swirled around the sleigh. They couldn't see a thing. The youngest reindeer was getting a bit worried, but Santa didn't seem concerned. In 2 miles, said the Santa knave in a bossy lady's voice, keep left at the next star. But ma'am, Santa blustered, I can't see any of the stars in all this fog. Soon, they were hopelessly lost. Then, through the foggy blanket, the youngest reindeer heard a faint, ringing sound. Ding dong. He looked over at the old reindeer with the red nose, but he had his head down. Ding dong, ding dong, ding dong, ding dong. There was that sound again, something like church bells. The youngest reindeer turned around to look at Santa, but Santa wasn't listening. He seemed to be arguing with a little box with buttons on it. With a flick of the harness and a jerk of the reins, the youngest reindeer gave a sharp tug and headed off towards the sound of the bells, pulling Santa and his sleigh behind him. "Whoa!" cried Santa, pulling his hat straight. "What's going on?" Then, to his surprise, he heard the ringing sound. "Well done, young reindeer," he shouted cheerfully. "It must be the University of Texas tower. Don't worry, children. Santa is coming." Then suddenly, crunch! The sleigh hit something as it plummeted through the fog. "You have arrived," said the Santa knave, unhelpfully. Finally, when the fog had lifted, Santa discovered exactly where they were. Stuck right at the top of the dome. It was the Texas State Capitol. "Everybody pull!" The reindeer pulled with all of their might, until at last, with a screeching noise, the sleigh scraped clear of the dome, and Santa steered them safely past the Paramount, over the Congress Bridge, and down Zilker Park. Luckily, there was no real damage done, but the packages had been jumbled up. Santa quickly sorted through the presents to get them in order again. "All right," said Santa. "Thanks to this young reindeer, I know where we are now. Don't worry, children. Santa is coming." Santa drove his sleigh expertly from rooftop to rooftop all over Texas, popping in and out of chimneys as fast as he could. There were big chimneys in Amarillo and small chimneys in Houston. He squeezed down thin chimneys in San Antonio and plummeted down fat chimneys in Fairview. The youngest reindeer was amazed at how quickly they went. Santa never seemed to get tired at all, and it looked like the children in Texas were going to be very lucky this year. But the youngest reindeer was starting to feel a bit weary and quite hungry too. In house after house, Santa delved inside his sack for packages of every shape and size. He piled them under the Christmas tree and carefully filled up the stockings with surprises. In house after house, the good children of Texas had left out a plate of cookies, a small glass of milk, and a big, crunchy carrot. Santa took a little bite out of each cookie, a tiny sip of milk, wiped his beard, and popped the carrots into his sack. From Dallas to Laredo, from El Paso to Austin, from Pecos to Galveston Island, and all of the places in between, Santa and his sleigh visited every house in Texas. Santa delivered presents to Andrew, Allison, Anna, Arabella, Archie, Ashley. Well, of course the list went on and on. Zach, Zara, Zeb, Zoe, and of course, Zibble. Finally, Santa had delivered the last present on his long Texas list. "Great moons and stars," sighed Santa. "It's past midnight, and my sack seems as heavy as ever. I hope I haven't forgotten anyone." Santa opened his sack to check, but it was full of juicy, crunchy carrots. Santa divided the carrots among all of his reindeer. "Well done," he said, patting the youngest reindeer gently on the nose. But the youngest reindeer didn't hear him at all. He was too busy munching. Then it was time to set off for home. Santa reset his Santa Nav once more to the North Pole, and soon they were speeding over Dallas through the crisp, starry night. Ho, 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 laughed Santa. Merry Christmas, Texas. The end. Now, thank you for staying with me, and God bless y'all.